boxers don't do this. This is why Canelo's not fighting Benavidez. Why would Canelo fight Benavidez, who's relatively unknown, and Benavidez beats him, and Benavidez becomes overnight a superstar? That's Canelo's letting Benavidez make a name off of him.
Wait, so you're saying that you're gonna make?
If it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. We want to see Benavidez.
Not give us Canelo Benavidez. Why? Canelo, why? I do not understand it. You're demanding $200 million? Like, come on, dude. Basically, Canelo doesn't want to give us the good fights. Imagine if Canelo and Benavidez gets made. That's the Super Bowl of boxing. Boxing is on the rise. Canelo, don't screw it up for us. I thought I would never say this, but Canelo's scared. Literally, I thought I would, as a fighter, I know fighters are not scared. But wow, we've been begging Canelo, please, Canelo.
David Benavidez isn't holding back after Canelo Alvarez lost to Terence Crawford. The undefeated super middleweight champion has turned up the pressure, claiming that Canelo is too hesitant to face him in the ring.
By unanimous decision, you got that. You know, I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo. And I just think that Crawford was too fast for him, you know, especially in the southpaw position. We all know Canelo had problems with the southpaw. So, you know, and that's why I picked Crawford. I just thought Crawford could be too fast.
Saul Canelo. Alvarez declined to face David Benavidez, expressing dissatisfaction with his approach and appearing more interested in the millions of dollars at stake. Veteran trainer Ronnie Shields confidently predicted that Terence Crawford would defeat Canelo even before their fight, and he still stands by that statement. After the bout, Shields explained that he had always believed Crawford's agility and his seamless ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw stances would prove too much for Canelo to handle. He further elaborated that Crawford's skill in changing angles, attacking and retreating, and controlling distance exposed Canelo's subtle defensive weaknesses, allowing Bud to create and capitalize on key openings.
Crawford is older than Canelo, so we can't use the excuse that he's older, right? We can't use the excuse that, oh, well, you know, he moved around too much. Well, it's your job to figure him out, right? Just like Chavez would figure out a fighter, just like I would figure out a fighter, just like any real great fighter can figure styles out. That's your job. I think Crawford did a tremendous job. Kudos to him. Sky's the limit for Crawford. And I really don't know where Canelo...
Ronnie Shields, a former professional boxing trainer, praised Terence Crawford for executing a nearly flawless game plan, staying composed, timing his attacks perfectly, and capitalizing on every mistake Canelo made. Shields described the performance as an exceptional display of tactical brilliance and ring intelligence, just as he had predicted before the fight. He even suggested that Canelo should consider retirement, noting that years of high-level competition have clearly taken a physical toll on him. In contrast, Oscar de la Hoya offered a different perspective. He emphasized that the decision to retire rests entirely with Canelo. He should only step away if he truly feels he has reached his limit. However, de la Hoya cautioned that Canelo must be more selective when choosing future opponents. He added that Crawford's performance was nothing short of extraordinary, highlighting his natural ability to read styles and counterpunch with precision. De la Hoya concluded by saying the bout was a powerful reminder of why Terence Crawford is regarded as one of the most adaptable and intelligent fighters in modern boxing.
Crawford at 160. Imagine that. Would be incredible. So there's a good possibility that Crawford will stay at 168. Most likely go down to 160. I don't think he's going to touch 154. I think he'll stay at 160 eventually. And and try to find the biggest fights possible. And the biggest fight for him would be a Virgil.
Oscar de la Hoya, a former professional boxer and promoter of Mexican descent, continued to share his thoughts on Canelo's next steps following the historic victory, while also reflecting on Terence Crawford's remarkable journey. De la Hoya noted that Crawford's confidence is unmistakable, and it's this self-belief that will drive him toward even greater challenges. He observed that Crawford seems perfectly comfortable and content at super middleweight, with little reason to return to the 154-pound division. However, De La Hoya suggested that Crawford might reconsider moving up to 160 pounds if the right high-profile matchup presents itself. According to De La Hoya, the most compelling fight available right now would be against the rising star Virgil Ortiz, a matchup he believes would deliver non-stop action, excitement, and intrigue befitting Crawford's current stature in the sport.
That performance did something really special for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, and a lot more special than what probably anyone else is probably thinking, honestly. I didn't expect Crawford to be that big.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't expect Crawford to be that big, but Canelo did good the first few rounds, first like all the way up like to round 4, and then that's when Crawford took over, So I mean, the second half of the fight though, it was all Crawford. There was no question about it.
Terence Bud Crawford's performance in the September 13th main event against Canelo Alvarez was praised by Rolando Romero. Romero stated that it takes a rare kind of fighter to hand Canelo a decisive defeat, and Crawford accomplished exactly that. He noted that the opening rounds were fiercely competitive, with Canelo pressing forward and keeping the fight close. However, as the bout progressed, Crawford began to take full control, dictating the pace, landing the cleaner, more effective punches, and steadily winning round after round. Romero emphasized that Bud's ability to adjust mid-fight and outthink an elite opponent proves why he's now being regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time. He described the victory as a masterful and almost unimaginable achievement.
I thought he did a great job. I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, and what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him and said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that.
Terence Bud Crawford has expressed hesitation about facing David Benavidez, sharing a similar sentiment to that of Canelo Alvarez. The American boxer, who recently defeated the Mexican superstar and stripped him of his titles, understands the unique challenges that a fighter like Benavidez presents. Following Canelo's loss to Crawford, David Benavidez publicly called out Alvarez, demanding a showdown to determine Mexico's ultimate boxing champion. Meanwhile, several former world champions have advised Canelo to consider retirement, acknowledging the physical and mental toll of years spent at the sport's highest level. Crawford himself admitted that Benavidez is a formidable opponent, emphasizing the size difference between them. He noted that while he doesn't rule out the possibility of fighting Benavidez in the future, the matchup would be a significant challenge, especially considering Benavidez's height of approximately 1.80 meters and weight hovering between 88 and 90 kilograms. Boxing journalist Dan Rafael echoed Rolando Romero's observations about the Canelo-Crawford bout, pointing out that the early rounds were intense and competitive, filled with thrilling exchanges. However, Rafael highlighted that Crawford's preparation and tactical execution were flawless, allowing him to outperform the larger and more seasoned Canelo with apparent ease. He praised Crawford's disciplined mindset and strategic approach, describing both as exemplary. Rafael also reminded fans of the many doubts surrounding Crawford before the fight, given Canelo's size, punching power, and championship experience, factors many believed would be insurmountable. Yet, through focused discipline and relentless training, Crawford turned those doubts into one of the most remarkable victories of his career, solidifying his place among the most complete and determined champions in modern boxing.
The winner of Eubank and Ben, the Hamza Shiraz, I mean, those types of names. He's got mandatories, Mabili got the draw tonight in a great fight. There's other fighters that have belts and interim belts and blah, blah, blah. So, nobody's going to rush Terence Crawford into his next fight. He'll take his time, and whatever the next fight is, it's going to be a big one because, his name is even greater now than what happened going into this fight for him. So he beats Canelo Alvarez,
Dan Rafael later elaborated that while a potential Canelo-Crawford rematch would undoubtedly attract massive attention, it might not be the most sensible or beneficial move for either fighter at this point in their careers. He advised both men to instead pursue other high-stakes opportunities that align better with their current professional paths. Rafael suggested that Canelo carefully weigh the pros and cons before deciding whether and whom to fight next, if at all. As for Crawford, Rafael emphasized that this historic victory has elevated Bud's status to such an extent that every top contender in the sport will now be eager to challenge him. However, he cautioned that Crawford must thoroughly assess each potential matchup, considering the division, the magnitude of the event, and the championship stakes involved, before choosing his next opponent.
I was hurt, I ain't gonna lie, because I've been a fan of Canelo since I was a kid, so my heart, a tear almost came on my eye, I ain't gonna lie, because it felt like, that Canelo's done. But I just think he was a little off that night. I think he can, make a big comeback. But to Crawford, man, he's the greatest of this era. You gotta give it to him, greatest of this era. Nobody's ever done that before, 3-time undisputed. So you gotta take your hats off to Crawford. And I was just shocked that he was able to just dismantle Canelo like that, even with the size difference. That just goes to show.
When discussing Terence Crawford's future, analysts noted that the winner of the upcoming Eubank Jr. vs. Ben rematch, or even Hamza Shiraz, could be potential challengers. However, Crawford also has several mandatory contenders waiting in line. Meanwhile, fighters like Liam Millie Smith, who fought to an impressive draw earlier in the night, and other champions holding full or interim titles continue to shape an increasingly competitive division. For now, though, no one is rushing Crawford into his next fight. He's expected to take his time, assess his options, and choose carefully, because whatever comes next will undoubtedly be a massive event. After defeating Canelo Alvarez, Crawford's name has grown even bigger, and the anticipation surrounding his next bout is immense. Lois Schofield, who had been steadfast in his belief that Canelo Alvarez would triumph on September 13th, admitted his shock at Crawford's dominant performance. Schofield confessed that he had expected to see a classic Canelo display, but instead witnessed the Mexican star fall completely short. For the first time, Schofield even questioned whether Canelo might consider retirement. Reflecting on the fight, he noted that Crawford outclassed Canelo in every aspect, from pace and timing to overall ring control. Crawford built a commanding lead early and never looked back, securing a dominant and decisive victory. Still, Schofield expressed hope that Canelo will regroup, make the necessary adjustments, and return to the ring stronger, allowing the boxing world to once again see him reclaim the greatness that made him a champion.
Kid, I think he was 21, 22 years old. He had a lot of experience, I should say. He had a lot of boxing experience at his age.
40, 50 fights?
Huh?
He had 40 or 50 fights at that point, right?
40, 50 fights, but not just that. I'm talking about experience as far as knowledge about being the real, experience. Like veteran experience. Like he knew how to counter, he knew how to block and counter, do different things. So it wasn't like he was just an ordinary fighter. And I was like, and fighting him, I'm like, wow. He actually knows how to get away from stuff. He knows how to counter. He knows how to trick shots up. And he knows how to do stuff.
Canelo Alvarez's career stands as a blueprint for the modern boxing legend. A journey defined by his willingness to face the very best, achieve global pay-per-view stardom, and capture world titles across 4 weight divisions. He has demonstrated an exceptional ability to adapt to nearly every style he has encountered, combining technical versatility with devastating counterpunching skill. From his teenage rise in Mexico to signature victories over established icons such as Miguel Cotto and Sergey Kovalev, Canelo has evolved into a global superstar and one of the sport's most marketable athletes. His remarkable consistency at the elite level has set him apart from most of his peers. When Canelo faced the great Shane Mosley in 2012, the veteran champion recognized something special. Mosley described the experience as stepping into the ring with a young fighter who carried himself like a seasoned veteran. He highlighted Canelo's natural strength, sharp timing, and patience, traits that already hinted at a future pound-for-pound great. Canelo's rise from a teenage prodigy to one of boxing's most accomplished and respected champions has been marked by the calm focus and discipline of a true veteran, qualities that were evident even in his earliest fights. Canelo Alvarez's durability and championship spirit were on full display in his 2 evenly matched bouts against Gennady Golovkin, contests that stand among the most significant achievements of his career. He further cemented his legacy by becoming the first undisputed super middleweight champion, defeating Caleb Plant to unify all 4 major world titles. Beyond collecting belts, Canelo has consistently sought out dangerous challenges across multiple weight divisions, never hesitating to enter high-stakes encounters. His career embodies both excellence and endurance, combining the relentless fighting spirit that represents the pride of Mexican boxing with a mastery of technique and adaptability. These accomplishments have solidified Canelo's status as one of the greatest fighters of his generation. Notably, Terence Crawford's gesture of returning the belts to Canelo after their fight underscored the deep respect and admiration that Canelo commands within the boxing world.
Words can't explain how good I feel. I said I was gonna get in here. I was gonna win the belt again. Like I said, it was a hard fight. You know, my Darrell was trying to catch me all night. He was trying to counter me when I would step in. But you know, we were willing to take the chances, and he didn't catch me at all. It was a hard fight, but you know, my dreams come true. You know, second time fighting on pay-per-view. All my people out there came out to support. So man, it's an amazing feeling. I just can't wait to get back in there again. And
David Benavidez has earned a reputation as one of the most formidable forces in the super middleweight division, with his 2019 victory over Anthony Dirrell marking a pivotal turning point in his career. In that fight, Benavidez secured a 9th-round knockout over the more experienced champion to reclaim the WBC title, a defining moment that showcased both his composure and confidence at the sport's highest level. Having regained the belt at just 22 years old, Benavidez described the win as a dream come true and spoke about the deep personal significance of holding the championship once again. He praised Dirrell's relentless pressure and sharp combinations, acknowledging how they pushed him to dig deeper and tighten his control of the bout with every passing round. Benavidez viewed the victory as proof of his growth and discipline, evidence that his youth power and focus combined to make him the man to beat at 168 pounds.